Veterans Stadium sold out. It will be rocking like the city has been rocking because the Dallas Cowboys have come to town. Tonight on Monday Night Football, it's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf, and this stadium will be rocking tonight. Happy you are with us. A terrific matchup tonight, the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles off to a good start on this young season, 3-1, but they need a win tonight to stay with surprising Washington in the NFC East. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys are hurting Dallas Cowboys. They limp in here tonight. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles back in January, but this is a different team than beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. And they come in at 1-3 at the very bottom of the Eastern Division of the NFC. And now this is a team that's hurt. It's been characterized as a wounded animal, a desperate team. It could be that this game will define their entire season, however.
Not only characterized as desperate, but that word has come out of the Cowboy camp all week. Barry Switzer has used it quite a few times. The problem with Dallas is offense. It's throwing the football. They don't have anyone to throw to because their receivers, Michael Irvin is still suspended, Jay Novacek is still hurt, and now Kevin Williams is hurt. So Troy Aikman really doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to. Defensively, this team is playing very well, good enough to win every game. But to win tonight, they need a big night from Emmitt Smith, and that's easier said than done of late since he's been dinged all season. And he's averaging a very un-Emmitt-like 3.3 yards per carry. If he has a big night, they have a very good chance to win. If he doesn't, they have very little chance. Also worth noting tonight, Barry Switzer was the head coach at Oklahoma for 16 years. Now in his third year with Dallas, he has been the head coach of 231 football games. Never in his career, ever, has he lost 3 games in a row. That string in jeopardy tonight as they come into Philadelphia, Dan. It's a huge game for Dallas. In a way, though, just as big for the Eagles.
You know, Al, when the schedule comes out, the Eagles they see when the Super Bowl is and when the Pro Bowl is, but they circled this date first. September 30th, Monday night, their first shot at the Dallas Cowboys, their dreaded enemy. Last year, the Cowboys took them apart in the playoffs. The Eagles thought they got no respect afterwards, and they've looked at it this way. Ray Rhodes says, what I'm doing here in Philadelphia is like building a house. They feel that they've laid the foundation, they put up a wall. Well, they get to put up the whole first floor tonight if they're able to beat the Cowboys. And how do they do it? Well, offensively, when they won last year in their one game against the Cowboys, they did it with Ricky Watters carrying the football 33 times. We're going to have to see a big effort out of Watters tonight. And defensively, it's very simple. Al talked about the fact the Cowboys can't throw. They're going to take their cornerback, Troy Vincent, lock him up on Deion Sanders, and they're going to commit the other 10 guys to stopping the Dallas running game. Down on the field, though, is our other partner. That's Lynn Swan, and he's with Ray Rhodes right now.
Thank you very much, Dan. Ray, if you can come away with a win tonight, you come up with a 3-game lead on the Cowboys. We know the win's important, but what kind of leverage does that give you?
Well, first of all, Washington right now is won yesterday, and it puts a lot of pressure on us to win tonight. They're 4-1 at this time. We want to be 4-1 also. I'm not concerned about what it does to the Cowboys. I'm concerned what it does to our football team, and we need a win right now.
We've talked about the injuries and the problems Dallas has had, but the gun in Dallas isn't empty. They have a lot of weapons. What's the key matchup for you this evening?
The matchup's going to be in the lines, the offensive and defensive lines. We have to play well in those areas.
Coach, good luck to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. Just a perfect night for a football game or for anything else. Temperature in the low 70s. High pressure system over the east today. Gorgeous night in Philly, and the place rocking at the outset as Chris Boniol tees it off to kick off for the Dallas Cowboys. And back deep to receive for the Philadelphia Eagles, Derek Witherspoon, who ran a kickoff back for a touchdown against Atlanta last week, and Mark Sabe back there with him as well. From rocking Philadelphia, here we go as Boniol sends it down to the 8-yard line, and Witherspoon comes back to the short side of the field and gets run out of bounds up at the 28-yard line by Darren Woodson. Now the Eagles, guided by Rodney Peete, who took over for Randall Cunningham in Game 5 last year and is 12-4 in his 16 games as the Eagles starter. And with him, Ricky Watters in the backfield, Kevin Turner, the blocking back, Irving Fryer and Chris T. Jones outside, and Jason Dunn out of Eastern Kentucky, the rookie tight end. Brooks, Panos, Mackenzie Holmes, and Cooper, the front 5. From the 28-yard line, first down, Philadelphia. Turner, the fullback, Waters, the tailback, and it's Ricky behind Turner to the outside, and then taken down, an arm tackle by Tony Tolbert, reaching out with the right arm to knock him down. And here is the Dallas defensive alignment tonight, the 4-3 with Tolbert, Hennings, Lett, and McCormick. The front four. Charles Haley out with a bad back here, but not in uniform. Thomas, Strickland, and Smith are the linebackers, and Kevin Smith made a comeback from Achilles surgery last year with Dion on the other side. Marion and Woodson are the safeties, and there is Charles Haley, who's been told to rest for a couple of weeks. Didn't play last week, won't play tonight. They have a bye week next week because of the bad back. On 2nd and 7, Peete, the short drop, and it's Ricky Waters who shoots the first down as Darren Smith makes the tackle, and Ricky Waters, with that extra effort, does pick up the first.
Ricky Waters, now in his 6th year, has really emerged as the offensive power for the Philadelphia Eagles, both running the football and receiving the football. He is having a superb year. They're using out of the backfield as a receiver. This is West Coast offense, the old cliche now, but they do it with the kind of a Ray Rhodes touch or a John Gruden touch. He is the offensive coordinator. They really keep Ricky Waters in the game, running or receiving.
Well, you saw his listed weight there at 217 pounds. He's actually more like 225 or 226, and you see how that added power has aided Ricky Waters' game. Darren Smith makes contact with Waters. Waters takes him for about a 5-yard ride and the first down. That's a newfound aspect of Ricky Waters' game that has really, really helped him pick up extra yardage in key situations right there to start this game.
Ricky off to an excellent start this year, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, in contrast to, as we mentioned at the top, Emmitt Smith averaging just 3.3. Peete on first down from the 40, stays in the pocket and then throws incomplete, intended for Chris T. Jones over the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
The Dallas Cowboys' problems have been primarily on their offense, even though Charles Haley is the big performer on the defensive unit, the man who puts the pressure on the passer. But their defense has played rather well. After their 4 games, they were 2nd overall. Their defense has only given up 4 touchdowns to their opponent's offenses, so they're not playing that poorly on this side of the ball.
Well, the one guy up front, Frank, who is really dominating is Leon Lett. The big cat has had good years in the past, but this is his best start ever. He hasn't been blocked yet this year.
They're going to try to rotate people in against him tonight. Guy McIntyre and Joe Panis.
2nd down and 10. And Ricky Waters takes it up to the 43-yard line. That's Tony Tolbert, the left end, along with Darren Woodson in on the tackle and setting up a 3rd down and 6.
Tony Tolbert there is another reason the Dallas Cowboy defense is playing so much better. Tony had multiple surgeries after the season last year, had both knees worked on, an elbow, and he is back where he's playing pain-free, and he was a darn good player before those injuries slowed him down, and he's back to that level or maybe above it.
But he only had Haley active on the other side. Right now he's drawing pretty much double coverage.
3rd and 6 with Pryor in motion. And Peete, the deep drop, and then he throws underneath, and the catch is made by Jones, who reaches for what appears to be a first down. Chris T. Jones making the catch at the 49 and then trying to suck the extra yard out of it.
Well, Chris T. Jones has really come on. He was a 3rd-round draft pick a year ago and played behind the likes of Fred Barnett and Calvin Williams. They're both gone, but I'll tell you, if Chris T. Jones will come across the middle, as will their other wide receiver, Irving Fryer. You need that in Ray Rhodes' West Coast offense. It's short passes, they're high percentage passes, but they are tough on the receivers.
Joe Panos and Barrett Brooks both put a shoulder on Leon Lett, but he still drops Rodney Peete. Good job by Rodney of sitting in there waiting for his receiver to make the break. And so far, 2 first downs for the Philadelphia Eagles, both on excellent second efforts. The first by Ricky Waters, the second one by Chris T. Jones. Those were 2 situations that could have ended up being punts. Instead, first downs for the Eagles.
Boy, long drives have characterized the Philadelphia offense this season. They've done so well with drives of 80 yards or more.
From the 50-yard line, here's Waters, and the Eagles try to mount a long drive, and it was a long drive on the game's opening drive last week that did the Cowboys in. Buffalo had the ball for almost the entire first quarter, marched the length of the field and scored, and that was the difference in a 10-7 Buffalo win. Ricky Watters handling the football, as you can see, almost 25 times a game as an Eagle, as opposed to his years with the 49ers, 1992 through 94.
Well, there's one concern. He does cough it up once in a while. That's his style of running, though. He's twisting, turning. He's struggling for every inch you can get out of it. Sometimes you lose it.
Peete on 2nd and 5. Throws to the fullback, Turner. Good move to get the first down. Tackled at the 34-yard line. Broke a would-be Darren Woodson tackle that would have created a 3rd down, and instead he picks up Philadelphia's 3rd successive first down. And Barry Switzer thinking about last week's Buffalo drive, and this looks like a repeat right here.
And go all the way back, Alan Frank, through the beginning of this season. If the defense has had a problem, it has been sloppy tackling and missed tackling. And right here, Turner, a big fullback who you don't really think is that nifty, makes Darren Woodson. Many people think the best strong safety in the game come up with a clean whip. Tremendous play there by Turner.
4 minutes into the game with no score, a fumble as Kevin Turner gives up the football, and somehow the Eagles come up with it. Jason Dunn, the tight end, comes up with the football.
I thought Leon Lett had it initially. It looked like the cat fell right on the football, and then it kept squirting loose.
The Eagles with a break. They'll lose almost 4 yards out of it, but a big break. It did look like Leon Lett was going to be all over that ball. Let's take a look. Turner, I don't know if there ever controlled. He never controlled the ball. Looking where he was going to run, instead of making sure he had the football, he just never controlled it.
Rodney actually got in there. Looked like Rodney Peete got in there and swiped the ball away from Leon Lett and kept it alive.
This is a 2nd and 15, and that's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. That's the 9th play of the drive, and there is Leon Lett getting his big hand on it with 10:17 to go in the first quarter and no score.
Thank you for not calling it a paw. Don't you get tired of people? He got his big paw on the ball. Put that baby to rest.
He's 6'6". He's blocked a lot of kicks. He's deflected so many passes. He has an uncanny way of timing his jump against the quarterback's delivery.
Well, he has just blossomed into such a complete player.
3rd down now at 15. 4 wide receivers sent out into their various patterns, and Peete has to step up and step out, and Rodney looking for the first down and runs into his own man before Brock Marion shoves him out. He ran up the back of Chris T. Jones, and he's out of bounds inside the 30-yard line, so Gary Anderson will come out on 4th down and attempt about a 47-yard field goal.
This is right on the edge of what I think Anderson's range is. This is an area of the field where Ray Rhodes is a lot of time prone to go for field position instead of the points.
Gary's been around a little bit. So many years with Pittsburgh, and years ago he kicked 155 yards, but that was about 11 years ago.
It would not have surprised me at all to see the Eagles punt in this situation.
47-yarder on a very still night, and Anderson bangs it through. The Eagle drive consumes 5 minutes, 13 seconds, and early on in Philly, it's the Eagles 3 and the Cowboys nothing. Troy Aikman ready to guide the Cowboy offense after the Eagles move down the field, and Gary Anderson kicks a 46-yard field goal officially. Herschel Walker, who played here in Philadelphia, back to receive the kick, and Tommy Hutton moves it into the end zone. And now a look at that Dallas Cowboy offense, missing several key components. They will get Michael Irvin back for their next game. His suspension ends tonight at midnight. Troy Aikman, 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, with Emmitt Smith and Darrell Johnson in the backfield, Kelvin Martin and Deion Sanders the wideouts, and Bjornsson replacing the injured Novacek. Then 2-A Newton, Donaldson, Allen, and Williams, that famous front 5, each a Pro Bowl veteran, but a front 5 that's not playing quite in sync to the extent they have been in recent times. From the 20-yard line, first down, Dallas. And they begin with Emmitt Smith, who cuts behind a Johnston block and is tackled by Fuller after a gain of 5. 2nd and 5. Let's take a look at the Philly defensive unit with Fuller, Kevin Johnson, Red Hall, the ex-49er, and Mike Mamula, last year's #1 draft choice up front. The linebackers are Woodard, Willis, and